Here we go. We are live. Hi, Sheena. How are you doing?
Brilliant. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. And we are live today. We're going to talk about something that most people don't talk about. We're going to talk about the fact that you have the power to change someone's behavior. And we're going to incorporate this in our podcast, Law of Attraction Secrets. So we'll start here. We'll let the room populate for a few moments and we'll just chit chat. And then we will actually start it. And then it will be on Law of Attraction Secrets as a podcast, but it will also be here as well on YouTube as a live. So, okay.
I'm actually really excited about this topic because I think this is like everyone's biggest desire. But I think today we're going to teach them the scientific, neuroplastic, quantum physics perspective of how actually to make it happen.
Yeah, that's great. I'm excited about this. And it's one of the things that people often ask more than anything is, you know, uh, I've got a great relationship with this person, but he he leaves his clothes all over the house or something like that. Is it possible to change his behavior without yelling at him, without nagging,
Yeah.
without, you know, that kind of thing? So yeah, it is. And we'll take a few questions as we go as well. But I guess
Sounds
we've got
good.
enough people that have joined us. So let's pretend we're doing a podcast. How's that?
Sounds good. Let's do it.
You have the power to change someone's behavior. Don't believe me? Listen to this podcast. This is Law of Attraction Secrets. I am your miracle mentor and alchemy success coach, Robert Zink. And today we are soaring high like a big, beautiful eagle. We're always flying in the direction of your dreams and your goals. And I'm with Sheena Shah today. And Sheena is our go to person when we want to get into some real difficult manifesting topics. And this is a tough one. People ask this all the time. Can I change someone's behavior? And we're not going to answer yes or no. We're just going to get into the information. Good to have you here, Sheena.
Thank you so much. I am so excited to be here because this is a conversation, something that I have wanted to have with you for so long. And I love that we get to share this with our audience, whether it's the podcast, whether it's a Facebook Live, because it taps into something I think we have all desired and we have all felt at some point. Can people really change? Can your person, can your partner, your parent, your best friend, even your boss, can they actually show up differently? And I think we're going to let it unfold, and then everyone can decide at the end of this conversation.
Sounds good to me. So many years ago, I was teaching a class on how to change people's behavior. And I had a roommate at the time, before I was married. I had a roommate, and he used to he would sneeze from time to time. He had allergies, and he woke up from his afternoon nap because he worked the evening shift. And I said, "Well, John is coming downstairs right now. Let's close our eyes and visualize him sneezing." And so, as a group, we all did it. And sure enough, he came down the stairs sneezing his ass off. I mean, he was sneezing all over the place. He's in the kitchen making himself lunch and he was sneezing. And so then we said, let's close our eyes and visualize that whatever is causing him to sneeze has disappeared. And we did that. And within a minute, he stopped sneezing. So just that little experiment proved to me and to a number of other people that were in the room that you can modify or change someone's behavior because they're a part of your reality. And if you're not in charge of your reality, who is? So, Sheena, where do you want to start?
I think I was thinking of this. I don't think we're not relating to people. We're relating to versions of them. What if every person you know existed in multiple infinite versions? Because, Robert, if I ask your school teacher about you, I ask Rachel about you, I ask your best friend about you, I ask someone who does not like you, they'll have a different version of you, right?
Right.
So you're not only experiencing the one person, you're actually emotionally entangled with them based on your assumptions of them. So doesn't that mean that you're not interacting with a fixed human, but you're always interacting with a version of them based on your story, your assumptions, your vibration?
Oh, yeah. So think about this, Sheena. Two people together, deeply in love, very close, nice relationship. Time goes on, they break apart. Then they finally separate. Okay. What happens is most of the time, people begin to react to the version of them that has separated or broke the relationship. They've stopped interacting to the version of them that fell in love with them, that wanted to be close to them, that trusted them. How do we get back to that when it comes to relationships? How do we get back to rewriting the story, so to speak?
So I have a very interesting analogy. Imagine you're in a gigantic warehouse, okay, and it's a pitch dark warehouse. Let's say there are infinite versions of your person, and you're standing over there and you have a spotlight on top of your head. Like, when you go trekking or hiking and you can only see what's in front of you, and all the versions of your person exist. But when that spotlight is on one, everything else goes dark. So what happens is people are trying to take a red apple and turn it into a green apple when the green apple and the red apple both exist at the same given point of time. And the most interesting thing is that the way we describe someone is actually how we start aligning with that version of someone. Robert, is really interesting. I was observing this with my own family, my mom and my dad, for example. And the way she speaks about him, right? So she'd be like, oh, he's going to be in a bad mood. And he's always so short tempered. And he just wants something particularly. And she has reiterated that story for obviously decades of their marriage. And as I started explaining this to her, and I stopped putting in the energy about saying, oh, he's a nag or he's very, annoying or any of that. At the age of 70 plus, the man started changing and becoming something completely different. So I truly, when people will say, oh, I'm too old, I can't change. I think my father is a live example that I have experienced because I have interacted him with an emotional basis my entire almost 40 years now. And I see a completely different version of him based on how I see him and based on where I am at.
Okay, so let me ask you this question. You have a specific person. You want to attract them into your life for a deep, committed relationship. They like you. You're spending time together. You may be even intimate together, but they don't want to commit. How can you change that? Is that possible?
100%. I'll tell you why. I have a true belief which has really worked for me, which is I am the exception. And what I mean by that is there is not a single person on this planet who has my genetics, my strengths, my weaknesses, my past. So, how can I compare myself with someone else? Right? We as a human race are used to generalization, but there is no one else like me. So, if someone comes and tells me, Robert is never going to forgive anyone who lies to him, I'm just giving you a bad example. In my head, I would say, yes, that's their truth, but I'm always the exception. So I have actually experienced this with friends who, people have said, oh, he's very short tempered. Oh, he's not the kind who's going to be emotional. And in my head, when that story comes up, I'm like, yeah, that's okay. That's their truth. But I am the exception. And that always works.
Okay, so it's kind of the thing that I say to myself when I hear something or see something bad that happens to other people. I say, I feel bad for them. Oftentimes I'll say a prayer or do some ho'oponopono, but then I'll say, that's them. That stuff doesn't happen to me. Wayne Dyer used to say, I never get a cold. So he went through 80-some years of his life and never got a cold because that was his belief system. When you start labeling other people as they're always angry, I hear people say, well, I don't know if law of attraction is going to work for me. My boyfriend's pretty stubborn. Have you heard that before?
Oh, all the time. Oh my God. And then they love calling them narcissists, toxic people, all the kind of labels you can possibly give.
Yeah. He's a narcissist. He's a whatever label you want to come up with. He doesn't like he's non-committal, He has commitment issues.
Oh, wait. Now they use avoidant. That's the new term now.
Yeah. He's an avoidant. They've been listening to another guy on YouTube too much, I think. And that guy, all he does is talk about avoidance, right? And so the second you do that, that's the truth. That's the label. That's the reality. You rewrite the story, you redefine the person that you want to change, and then you begin changing them. I don't want to, we weren't going to go there, but we have to go there. We have to go there.
Go there.
Let's talk about Neville Goddard.
Everyone is pushed out.
Yes. What does that mean? Everyone is you pushed out.
Can I simplify it from my understanding? I think it's like we are all wearing glasses or spectacles and observing our reality. And the frame is based on what we believe about ourselves and the way we see our world. So if I am going to wear spectacles or glasses, which basically says, everyone lets me down, I am going to prove to myself, right? So technically, we are always observing the perception of the world is based on what we believe we are. And the more you believe that, the more your story becomes that, your assumptions become that, it has to become that. Your reality or 3D is always going to match the story within your mind.
So there's a saying, well, it's not a saying, it's a part of a ancient tradition, and what they call an initiation into a mystery school. And in it, it says the hierophant or the leader of the ceremony says, I am the only being in an abyss of darkness. In an abyss of darkness came I forth ere my birth, from the silence of a primal sleep. And what it's really saying is, your reality is your reality. And you're alone in that reality. You're creating it. You're not just living it, You're creating it, including the lack of commitment, the bad behavior, whatever you're going through, And so other people are really just a part of your reality, because you can find someone who say has a temper. Okay. He always had a temper. He doesn't have a temper with me. We don't have a temper. We never argue that way. Why is that? Different version,
Exactly.
different story, different
Absolutely.
beliefs.
Absolutely. I want to tell you a very personal story. When I met my partner, before we even became a romantic relationship, I always said he's the most beautiful human being I've ever met. And that has stayed with me even today when I introduce him to anyone or talk about him. And I'll tell you why am I telling you this story? Because if I talk to all his exes or I speak to people in his life, that is not something he has been, right? And I realize the way we describe people, the way, because that's the story we keep reaffirming. So when we fall in love with someone, we say, oh my God, he's so wonderful, she's so beautiful, so kind. And then let's say they throw a hissy fit or you have a conflict and you're like, why are you so short tempered? Why are you so angry? And then that becomes a story I'm telling my best friend, I'm telling my mom. And that's how that version starts shifting. So when I have a conflict with my partner and he can get judgmental or we can have a certain thing, I don't define his personality by those certain incidents that happen. In my head, he is the world's most beautiful human being ever. And that is why we both create that relationship where that's the story which showcases in the 3D.
Perfect. So you're labeling him what you want him to be.
Bang on.
There you go. Okay. I want to say we get a lot of people asking for help. And here's the best advice I can give you. This is very, very big advice. So listen closely. This will be the last time on the summer solstice that I will manifest for other people. And Sheena will be joining me, Agna, Rachel, and our entire team will be focused on the vibratory energy to put you in alignment with what you desire. Now, this is going to happen over a 2-hour live Zoom broadcast. And you don't have to do anything. Of course, it's always better if you put yourself in alignment with what we're doing for you. Okay. You need to go to iwillmanifestforyou.com. iwillmanifestforyou.com. This takes a month of preparation. It takes a lot of work. We're going to hit all 7 frequencies that are going to put you into alignment with your specific person, with your new car, with your new home, with your new job, with whatever it is you desire. iwillmanifestforyou.com. This is the last time. And I would do it sooner than later because the early bird special is about to end. So when the early bird special has ended, it's gone. And then because we can only take so many people, so we keep the price at a place where we know that the people that are joining us are serious. So I have put this together. I'm ready. Sheena's ready. Rachel's ready. Agnes ready. We are ready to manifest for you on June 20th, the summer solstice. But you need to go there and sign up. And you say, well, that's a long ways away. I'll do that later. No. When the spots are gone, I think there's like 60 some total spots. When the spots are gone, they're gone. And you can't get in. when we did this before, we had hundreds of people at the last minute that wanted to join us, and they couldn't do it. The spots were gone. So go to iwillmanifestforyou.com. Sales pitch, you call it a sales pitch. I call it offering a hand of love and help to those who have struggled. Look, you've tried watching all the videos. You've read a ton of books. You get on YouTube every day looking for answers. And you're still in a broken relationship. You're still separated. You still don't have the money you desire. You're still suffering with that perpetual health issue. Whatever it is, we're going to change it as long as it's legal and as long as it doesn't hurt anyone. So go to the website, iwillmanifestforyou.com, and get registered. Grab your spot right now. Okay? Take inspired action. That's what it's all about. How important in any form of manifesting, Sheena, is inspired action?
100%. There, like I can sit here and say, okay, I'm aligning with clients who want my help. But when they reach out to me, I am going to need to connect with them. I am going to need to have that conversation. So I think people always wonder what is the difference between action and inspired action. And inspired action is where your soul is feeling a calling. It's something where it feels light and it does not feel like you're pushing. It doesn't feel like you're going against your core values. So always go with your intuition and always go with what that first calling is instead of getting logical and figuring out why you should not be doing that.
Yeah, I told you that I have a very impressive, I'll just use the word impressive, collection of first edition books by William Watker Atkinson, who is kind of the father of the new thought movement, the law of attraction. He really made it, he brought it out, and so many people, including Neville, really just took information from William Watker Atkinson, who studied it from the ancient mystery schools, the Eastern mystery schools, the Western mystery schools, and he codified it into understanding and systems and techniques. And he says that all the work that we do up here has to be balanced with inspired action. The term take inspired action doesn't come from Robert Zink, doesn't come from Joe Vitale, doesn't come from Tony Robbins. It comes from William Watker Atkinson. That's where it comes from. So as you start to see your partner or whoever it is that you're bringing about change in their behavior, as you start to see change, take inspired action to move them along. Does it make sense?
100%.
So in my 7-year-old, when I see that his behavior is improving in a certain area, I reward him. That's inspired action. I feel the inspiration. It'll just come on me. And I'll say, okay, I need to reward him.
Can I tell you a really funny fun story? And it actually really has altered my personal life.
Yeah.
And I can tell you that if anyone ever talks to my partner, he'll tell you that Sheena is the one person who will never, ever, ever nag. And this is how I learned this. So a while ago, I watched a video where this guy said, I used to shave Monday to Friday. Okay. And then I just wanted to take a break on Saturday, Sunday and not shave. And he said, and my girlfriend would be like, oh, it hurts, like it's annoying to my skin. And she would crib and she would complain. And eventually that relationship did not work out for obvious reasons. And he said, now I've been dating this girl or been in this serious relationship for years. And this woman, every single time I shave, she's like, oh, I love how soft your skin feels. Oh my God, you're so sexy when you're like clean shaven. And he's like, I would shave twice a day if I have to for her. So all you have to do is actually appreciate when anyone, and let alone your partner, romantic partner, it's your mother, it's your child, it's anyone, you basically start saying, oh, I really appreciate when you did that. So, I do this thing with my partner where basically what I do is at the end of the day, we do a peak pit and what I'm grateful for. And I always will mention things like, I'm really grateful that you texted me, though you had a really busy day. I'm grateful you sent me a coffee when we had a conflict. And that is why he will always keep doing those things and vice versa. Why do we have to nag someone, label them, make them feel like they're not good enough, and then say, why aren't they changing?
Right. Yeah, we can't do the opposite. We have to change. Look at if you want somebody to change outside you, you have to bring about the change inside you. Everything in the law of attraction, in manifesting the law of vibration, is an inside job. None of it's an outside job, except the inspired action. That's the outside job. Everything else is an inside job. And it involves changing your belief system about the person you'd like to change. Rewriting the story. So, okay. Well, we've anything else that we've left out? Have we left anything out?
I'm going to do one small thing that I actually wrote as a live practice for everyone who's here or whoever's listening to the podcast. I want everyone closing their eyes and just think of a person, whoever you're struggling with. Just bring that person into your mind and just feel that energy. Now I want you to drop the story. Drop the story. The person is not meeting up to your expectations, is not making you happy, is a narcissist, is angry. And can you visualize them as a kind person, evolved, honest, open, and just feel what that feels like in your body? That version already exists. You're not creating them, you're remembering them. When you go back to this feeling every single day when you start feeling angry and frustrated with someone, when you start labeling them, think about five wonderful things about them. Change your story about them internally and let it happen.
Beautiful. We couldn't end on a higher note. Change your story about them and let it happen. If you don't keep anything from this podcast, keep that portion. Keep that portion. Well, Sheena, thank you for joining on Law of Attraction Secrets podcast. And for those of you who are not following me on Law of Attraction Secrets podcast, it's on iTunes, it's on Spotify, it's on iHeart, it's all over the place. I don't know, I guess wherever you can find a podcast, Podbeam, whatever. There's so many of them. But wherever you can find or like to listen to your podcasts, we are there. And we're putting up 2-3 new podcasts every week, in addition to all the stuff we're doing here on YouTube as well. So you can always find us on YouTube. Now, I've got to say this again. June 20th is the summer solstice. I believe it's the most powerful day of the year for manifesting. There's actually 2 powerful days. This is one of them. On that day, Sheena, myself, Rachel, Agna, we are all going to gather around your intentions, and we're going to help you manifest whatever it is you desire, as long as it's not illegal, as long as it's not hurting anyone. And here's the deal, and this is important to understand. You need to understand this. We're so certain. We're so absolute certain. We're so guaranteed certain that if you join us on the 20th of June, but you're going to have to sign up now. I would recommend doing it before the end of the weekend. If you join us and you don't get what you want in 30 days, we will continue to coach you monthly for up to 6 months. Wow, that's 4 of us working together to coach you, to help you get what you want. That's a pretty strong guarantee.
That's a huge, powerful. I mean, even if you don't get it on summer solstice, how can you give up an option to like be coached by, I will include myself in that list, but 4 incredible human beings.
Yeah, it's wonderful. And so you're going to have access to that. Now, I believe that most of you will get exactly what you want. Look at, we totaled up the hours and the time for each one of us and added them all together. You're getting over $10,000 of coaching as a guarantee. So go to iwillmanifestforyou.com. And thank you, Sheena, for joining me on this podcast. And thank you, everybody else. And we had a great time. We'll see you later. You have a great day because you absolutely deserve it. Bye-bye now.